Oh, you moves. Let's get this going. Let's get this going, y'all. What he said. Now, what the hell he done said to this little girl? What he done did now? Let's see. Slow your moves, slow your moves. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Hit them lights. I felt like going to the UK today. Yeah, that's what I feel like doing. UK. We doing UK today. All right, let's go.
We are now getting these clips that have been unearthed that show that there's a lot of there when it comes to Donald Trump and the alleged sexual predation that he carries. And I have a clip here where Donald Trump is literally hitting on a 10-year-old. I also have other clips where he makes sexual comments about children. It's very disturbing stuff. Here's one of Donald Trump saying the thing he has in common with his daughter is sex.
We want to know a little bit more about you guys, so we play this game here. It's called Fave 5. I'll ask the question. Ivanka, you answer first, and then Dad, you answer also. Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Just imagine if you had a young son or daughter, and your uncle or your neighbor said that about them. Now imagine them saying it about their own son or daughter. It's completely fucked up, and it's not even the worst thing. It's not even the worst thing. Here's Donald Trump commenting on the breasts of a 1-year-old baby.
What does Tiffany have of yours, and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of moral, and she's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
So to me, it's like with both of those clips, these are very innocent questions that there's no mentally sane person who would take these questions of like, what is your baby, your newborn daughter, your 1-year-old baby have in common with you and your wife? And you take that to a sexual place. It's very, very, very disturbing, frankly. It's very disturbing. And Donald Trump also, this is very recent, Donald Trump tried to kiss a very young girl at a Republican event. Oh my God. You see the sweat on his lips? Oh my gosh. He did not want to do that. And that's in public. If he's doing this in public, what has he done in private? What has he done in private? Well, we do know one thing he's done in private, and that is, he was judging underage girls as they were undressing.
On this pageant, you go over, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man. Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No, but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have
So
that.
I don't want to hurt that.
You're a guy who likes to have everything.
Well,
Right?
couldn't that be construed, however, as
Conflict?
yes?
I don't see it as a
It could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh,
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with the vagina. And,
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what-
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure
You're
that
like a
everything is
doctor
good.
if you're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Oh, that's who it is. Okay. Howard Stern. Howard. Oh,
They said I couldn't get an online degree to further.
hold on. Let's get it going.
The large universities. Before he was president, Donald Trump was a frequent guest on Howard Stern's radio show. What few people knew until recently is that Trump tried to get Stern to endorse him and speak on stage at the Republican convention. In his fascinating new book, Stern shows the evolution of Donald Trump from brash real estate developer to presidential candidate through his many interviews with Trump. I spoke earlier today with Howard Stern. Now, the full interview is going to air tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for the hour, right here on CNN. But I want to share with you now some of what Stern said about his relationship with Trump and why he believes the president would benefit from something Stern says has changed his own life, psychotherapy. You talked about trauma, and you've talked about it in relationship to President Trump.
Yeah.
That Donald Trump is a person who experienced a lot of trauma early on.
Yeah, from what I know of Donald and his relationship with his father, it sounds traumatic. It sounds like the father was very domineering. The father expected a lot of him. And the father, I don't know, it was military school. You know, you read these drips and drabs and you go, wow, I can assure you he's been traumatized because, you know, Donald, you know, his level of narcissism is so strong. He has trouble with empathy. We know that. And I wish he'd go into psychotherapy. I'd be so proud of him if he did. He would flourish.
But he never has. I mean, he never would.
There's no way. I do not believe he's ever done psychotherapy because he's demonstrating a lot of the behaviors that I recognize.
And I think as an interviewer, I've noticed this just when I used to interview him. I don't get to interview him anymore because he doesn't do it. But he was very susceptible to flattery. And if you and I noticed this in your interviews with him, you would throw out something like your poll numbers, you know, I've never seen anything like this. And
well, it's a definite technique.
It washes over him.
Yes, it's a technique. You know, it's like if you meet someone who has a bad oh, you're very beautiful. You're so handsome. You're this, you're that. With Donald, it always starts out. Notice I call him in every interview, Mr. Trump. Now, this is before he was president, Mr. Trump.
That's intentional.
Oh, absolutely. Someone had asked me, said, why do you call him Mr. Trump? I said, because it loosens him up. He feels respected. He feels good about himself. Now he's going to roll. He's going to open up to me.
When you see him now in the White House as president, what do you see?
Well, you know, I go into
your history with him and how you know him.
Well, first of all, it's unbelievable to me. And I've documented my thoughts about how this whole candidacy even came about. This was a publicity stunt. I happen to
You have no doubt about that.
I have no doubt because I have some inside information. And the thing is that it started out with The Art of the Deal, the book, and it was a PR guy's idea. He said, Donald, what you need to do is we'll make a sort of a rumor that you're running for president. And Donald's like, oh. So all of a sudden he was being interviewed. The book goes right to #1. When he had his second book came out, that's when he decided to start the rumor that he was going to run for president. And then this time around, in the last election, the Apprentice ratings were not what they were. NBC was not going to give him a raise. And what's a better way than to get NBC's interest? I'll run for president and I'll get lots of press. And I think that's what happened.
Do you think he likes being president?
I don't think he likes being president at all. I think he liked winning the presidency. He likes to win. And again, I'm not Donald Trump's psychopath, and I had many good laughs with Donald. And in some ways, I feel it has been wrong the way they use my transcripts in a way to frame him. And I'll give you an example. When he said the line about STDs being his Vietnam, that was a very jokey thing on my show. If you went back and listened to the tape, you would not take that seriously. He was in the spirit of the program. And then he was, they tried to use that against him. Hey, how dare he compare himself to a veteran of the Vietnam War who served when he didn't serve. All right, everybody take a deep breath and relax. But having said that, the stuff I put in the book, I think is very revealing about our now president. And there's something to be learned there.
Do you think he's the same person that you interviewed now?
Yeah, I do. I think he's the same exact person. I think the only way you really change is to do analysis. So, yeah, I think he's the same guy.
He asked you to speak at the RNC. I think I had no idea about that.
He used to call me from the campaign trail. And I think he was really desirous of my endorsement because, A, I have a big audience, and B, he's familiar with that audience. And I think it would have been very comforting for him if I had gotten on board. So when he secured the nomination and now he was thinking about the convention, I think he wanted some showbiz there. He picked up the phone and he called me personally and he asked me if I would go to the Republican convention and endorse him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh gosh, for about a split second, I went, can you imagine if I was all in? I would be the head of the FCC. I could be the Supreme Court. I could be on the Supreme Court. I think Donald would give me anything.
You really believe that?
Oh, I believe it for 100% that if Ben Carson can get in there and I think Donald would have appointed me.
Because he's transactional or I
think he would have been grateful that I'm on his team, regardless of whether I know what I'm doing or not.
Do you think he wants to get reelected? Do you think
I think psychologically, if he really got under the hood, I think he'd say, what am I doing? I'm in my 70s.
We're going to have more from Howard Stern in a moment. We're now from my one-on-one interview with Howard Stern and his new book titled Howard Stern Comes Again. In it, he talks more on the RNC speech that might have been, but also about how he tried to get Hillary Clinton on his show back during the campaign. Stern is a supporter of hers and wanted, in his words, to humanize her. While Stern doesn't do a lot of political interviews, there are two candidates who interest him above all the others in the Democratic field right now. If you could interview him now, because you haven't spoken to him since you turned down the RNC.
No, well, when I turned down the RNC was the last time he spoke, and he said to me, what are you doing? And I explained to him in the nicest way that it would.
What the fuck I don't walk into? Oh, hell.
Be difficult for me. I said I'm not really actually comfortable being a public speaker, which I'm not. I don't like going up. I never was a stand-up comic. I don't like getting up in front of audiences. This radio studio suits me just fine. I'm alone with Robin, and she's my audience. I'm in heaven. It's great. So when what struck me as even odd, I know he was a Hillary Clinton fan. He was a supporter of hers. So the whole thing was weird. And I have been a Hillary Clinton supporter. Way back before even when she was, trying to get the I think she's a terrific public servant. I thought her husband was the best president we ever had.
Tried to get her repeatedly to come on your show.
I did everything that I normally don't do. Including going to the New York Times and the Washington Post and doing an interview with them, excuse me, and supplying them with my whole game plan with Hillary. And the whole game plan was I wanted to humanize her to my audience.
You weren't interested in talking about politics or policies. No. You were interested in her childhood.
Her childhood, what drives her.
What did I stumble upon?
I wanted to humanize her in the same way. There's a couple of people in my book where I interviewed them and the audience's perception changed just from one interview.
It's interesting that Hillary Clinton...
This terrible.
I mean,
they just... Oh, man. Now, to say... because somebody was dead, I don't mean it was dead. All right, okay. But you gotta say the shit is getting real kind of crazy. Like, you got Howard Stern. He playing both sides, and you know he be on some sexual talk shit all the goddamn time. Howard Stern. Ooh, this shit getting crazy. This nigga Howard Stern. What the fuck?
So the whole thing was weird, and I have been a Hillary Clinton supporter way back before even when when she was trying to get yeah. I think she's a terrific public servant. I thought her husband was the best president we ever had.
Tried to get her repeatedly.
Let's check this out.
I'm really excited. Hillary Clinton is here. Former senator, former first lady, former secretary of state. Look at you. Wow, I can't even believe it.
She's here.
There you are. Can I just stare at you for a while? How are you? Good to see you. This is so exciting for me.
Well, it's exciting for me too, I think.
Yeah, I'll let you get, you'll see.
You think?
You don't know yet. I mean, I don't know if you read this piece of mine, but my fantasy was not only to meet you, but to tell you what a hero you were to me and how special you are to me and your level of expertise and everything you've done. To sit here and get to tell you that is very exciting for me.
Well, thank you.
All right. Let me see something. I'm gonna go to this one. Yeah, this is weird.
And the Mega Moolah multiplier scratch off? You really pulled out all the stuff.
Weird shit. They got tunnels and shit.
Playing the bat dance for Madam Vice President. Well, we'll listen to this for a second. First of all, it's me, Howard. I'm here on a special day. I was supposed to have a day off. I'd only come in for the Vice President of the United States because right now is my nap time.
Try not to fall asleep during this interview.
Do you nap at all?
Not really. I wish I could. I don't mind, like in a different life, sometimes on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
I know. Look what you. By the way, I'm playing bat dance because I knew you were a Prince fan.
Yes.
But I believe, I'm a huge Prince fan, but I believe that the Batman soundtrack was his best work. It was genius. Yes. Think about it. Listen to this.
Go with the smile.
You didn't think goofy.
No. Like, not.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, he playing Batman and shit.
Even you look at Bruno Mars today, right?
Right.
Who just been influenced by Prince. The night he passed, Doug and I were in LA and actually just like he and I have very different musical tastes, my husband and I.
What's Doug into? Like Cream
like
or
Depeche Mode.
Oh, Depeche
He's
Mode.
just, yeah, that's him. I grew up kind of hip hop. But Prince is the one intersection where we both love. And we just played Prince all night long. We danced, we sang his songs. That was our little tribute.
Did you ever meet Prince in real life?
I never met him in real life.
Wow. I went to see him. This is such a weird story. I forget my story.
Tell me though, I want to hear it.
It's very strange because I was a huge Prince fan like you.
Yeah.
And a friend called me who had worked on a book with him of pictures. They said, Prince is going to perform for about 150 people. Come over. And I said, I'm going.
Yeah.
Go over. He comes out and he announces to the crowd, turn off all the lights. And he's playing in the dark the entire time. I left. I said, this is ridiculous. I could listen to this on the radio. He didn't want to be seen.
And he.
All right, man. Enough. Y'all having y'all Prince moment and shit. Get on there. Get. Speed it up. They're talking about when they was dressing like Howard Stern was dressing like Prince and shit.
Again, who secretly is helping out an adversary when the American people are dying by the hundreds every day and in need of relief. And instead, how did he handle it domestically from Americans? He mismanaged the whole thing.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there rather than a guy who says, where do I begin? A guy who says he doesn't support Ukraine wouldn't get on that stage with you and say, I support Ukraine. And why do my fellow Americans want this kind of chaos overseas? Why?
To your point, doesn't support our friend Ukraine, doesn't support, therefore, something America should always, and has always, by the way, been a champion of, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity, which means the importance of standing against anyone who tries to take another nation by force.
Right.
That's what we stand for as Americans, that you don't do that. And if you do that to our friends, we're going to stand with our friends. You're getting played. And some would say, look, I grew up in the neighborhood. Some would say you're getting punked.
Yeah.
If you stand in favor of somebody who's an adversary over your friends on principles that we all agree on. And you look at it, it's not only that. He says he's going to be a dictator on day one. Understand what dictators do. They jail journalists. They put people who are protesting in the street in jail.
He said he thinks he wants to go after Jimmy Kimmel, a comedian. He wants to go after Stephen Colbert and Seth Meyers. Even if someone had said years ago when I remember presidential races, if someone said, "Oh, Kamala Harris isn't a black woman," that would have been it. Would have been over. I mean, how do you challenge that? What do you do with that?
But back to the point about what it actually is, and then let's talk about it and call it what it is. It's a sign of weakness in a leader.
Yeah.
To not stand in defense of your people, the American people. It's a sign of weakness in the commander-in-chief of the United States of America to not stand on the side of supporting your military. Don't forget Donald Trump calling members of our military prisoners of war, suckers and losers.
John McCain, he doesn't like him.
Absolutely.
Because he got captured.
He says he doesn't like him because I don't like people who got caught. A prisoner of war, an American hero.
Yeah.
Think about this guy who, by the way, his former chief of staff, 2 secretaries of defense, his national security advisor, people who served with Donald Trump in the White House, have said he is unfit to be commander-in-chief and is dangerous. So the people who know him best have let us know. They've seen him. They've worked with him in the Oval Office, and they know he is dangerous and unfit to be president of the United States.
His own vice president isn't voting for him.
they saying all this shit, right? How the fuck he became the president? I mean, you know what I'm saying? All this is too late. That nigga pushed the button on your head.
How could anyone justify any of this? I don't get it. It's madness. And I know Donald Trump so many years. He was at my wedding. I always had a good time with him, but not as president of the United States. You can't come out with these wacky eating cats and dogs. And now these poor people who are living in these communities are getting threatened.
You know, Howard?
You can't dine with Nazis. You can't do it.
The thing about the cats and dogs, and again...
Oh, did you, when you were doing the debate, what was going through your mind when he said the cats and dogs? Did you say to yourself, I just won this thing. This guy's self-destructing. But did you say it to yourself, or did you not know in the moment?
There were a couple of moments, at least in the debate, where it was surreal.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Right.
We're in a debate before it turned out, I think, 60 million Americans who are tuning in, meaning they're not dealing with all of their other priorities because they want to hear a debate about who will be the next president of the United States, and they want to know where do they stand on the issues and how will they lead and how will they make a difference in my life.
Right.
And one of those two people, Donald Trump, on that stage spent time talking about how people are eating pets. One of those people on stage spent full time talking about his personal grievances, about himself, full time, instead of talking about the needs of the American people.
That's terrible. People eating pets. Oh my God, man. I'm sorry.
And there were moments when I was on that debate stage where I was, I knew what he does at his rallies, but this was a very serious moment to earn the votes of the American people. And he was talking about things that were factually untrue and quite ridiculous, but also not talking about a plan for dealing with bringing down the cost of groceries, not talking about a plan for building up American businesses, not talking about a plan for strengthening America's security and standing with our allies and against our adversaries.
When I was watching the debate, what drove me nuts, and I was there debating with you, I was like, say this, say that. And you said it. You said, well, this guy is talking, his big issue is immigration. Okay, fair enough. There's an immigration problem.
Man, I was stern. Yours. Man, he said, eating pets. They already, man. But y'all still let this nigga become the president.